Okay, this one moves on from the idea of lean production, although very much a feature of production. And this is something we've spoken about before, but this is economies of scale. It's quite a short one. So in this lesson, we were looking at basically just understanding what economies of scale are. Please abbreviate to EOS in brackets, and then explaining three out of five of the different types of economies of scale. So hopefully now, as we've probably gathered, an economy of scale is a very useful term to always bring into any of your answers to show that higher sort of thinking. But what it actually, to define it, what it actually means is that lowering of the unit cost. So remember, the unit cost is the cost to the company to produce one item. So as a company expands, as it gets bigger, that unit cost goes down. So it's a little bit ironic. You would think as it gets bigger, it's going to cost more to produce, but in fact, it does go down significantly, and that is because of the following reasons that we're going to look at. So really, on a very basic achieve level sort of answer, you're going to be able to say, okay, you can buy in bulk. All right. So as a company gets bigger, they are going to want to buy more raw materials. The more raw materials you order, the cheaper it will become because they will be offering you a better price to buy in larger amounts. So obviously bulk buying. Okay. You can also afford better machinery, because also as well you're producing a higher amounts, you're going to need better machinery, and that allows you to produce more effectively. And as you get bigger, the theory is you should be able to get paid better wages, and for that reason you should be able to recruit more effective workers. So these are just examples. So really, when we're looking at economies of scale, there's lots of different ways in which we can see these things. Okay. But overall, when you use that term economies of scale, it's implying that your costs are going to be lower. So we can define that there's five main types. Now, obviously, once again, there's lots and lots of variations on this one. But if you can think about all these different ways in which companies, as they get bigger, they are going to be more effective, and also lowering the cost. So as we mentioned before, buying in bulk purchasing, the whole idea that suppliers will want to supply, will want to attract those contracts to supply to those organisations that are buying big. Okay, and for that reason, they are going to make their prices more competitive. So therefore, you would get it slightly cheaper. Buying better equipment, as previously said, to produce more, you need your better equipment. Your better equipment, you would have thought, would be producing more, quicker, more effectively, more cost effectively. So that's another one, technical. Add to this one, managerial. Now, as you get bigger, you are more likely to be attracting those types of managers who are going to be more effective, because they are more inclined to be working for the big organisations, because that is where their skills lie, and they want to put that on their CV because it makes them feel better. The advantage of buying these more effective managers is that they are much better at managing, i.e. managing the resources at their disposal to make it more productive and efficient. And in doing that, you can argue that they are going to be able to employ lean production techniques. They're going to be able to employ techniques which are going to minimize waste, disruption, use the time more effectively, and minimize errors as well. So for that reason, all of these things is going to be minimizing of your cost. Now, as I mentioned before, a lot of this stuff is very marginal, but it does all adds up. And once again, if you as an organization are doing it, then your competitors will be. Added to that one, financial. So as an organization, again, if you do wish to expand and seek further finance, which organizations are always doing, the bigger you are, the more attractive it looks to those financial institutions to lend you money. So therefore, you're going to get a much more competitive interest rate, and for that reason, it's going to make it cheaper. You're also going to be able to cut costs in a way because of marketing. So if you think of the big organizations, largely they don't market or they don't advertise specific products. They just market their brand because they are that big. So that's another area that you may be cutting back on your um, on lowering your unit costs. So as we can see, there's all these different effective ways in which you can achieve economies of scale. The important thing to always remember, though, is that this is one distinct advantage for an organisation of getting bigger, is that it becomes cheaper for them to produce.